Hello. Sorry, I didn't know where I put my knife. I'm Perry from Rennet Rind, and I'm here today to tell you thank you for supporting British artisan cheese first and foremost. Secondly, thank you for buying our box. Thank you for supporting us. Maybe a lot of thank yous that are in there. So a little bit, if it's your first time with the box, a little bit about me. My name's Perry. I'm Britain's first affineur of the year. So affineur is someone who refines cheese, who looks after cheese, who uses brushing, washing, turning to bring the best out of the cheese. And I've selected 5 of these cheeses for you. I'm also a world cheese judge. Yeah, it's an actual thing. You can go and judge cheese, if you're lucky enough to be selected by the guild, fly around the world and judge loads of cheese which really challenge your profile and change perceptions. So hopefully, after that little short monologue, I'm qualified enough to tell you why I selected these 5 cheeses, why I think they're great for this month, and let's just get started. In your box, this one here, you would have got tasting notes, so you can go on those, read through them. You know, you've got some care notes in there, a little bit of information about how to keep them in your fridge, you know, making your kind of mini maturing room to give them the best humidity. So yeah, look out for that. But let's dive in. So first, right out of the gates, we've got St Jude, which some of you eagle-eyed people would know that this isn't available online. So it's a mystery cheese box exclusive. It's a very cool cheese. So it's modelled on a French cheese, which is a St Marcelin style. So it's got this brilliant kind of slightly loose geo rind on it. This one's a little bit wet actually. I'm imagining great things within there, which is quite fun. Immediately as I open, I get that kind of slight pungency, which is kind of in the dairy area. So this is made by Julie Cheney, Whitewood Dairies, a guy called Blake there as well, who makes St Helena, which is available online. And the cool thing about this, a lot of people, which I don't quite believe, I'm a big lover of raw milk cheeses, Baron Bygod has gone pasteurised. And this dairy is situated, the cheese-making room, on the old Baron Bygod site, which is literally 2 doors away from their new site. So they're using Montbéliard cow's milk from the Bungay herd, the Baron Bygod herd, Fen Farm herd, but they're not pasteurising their milk, which is really cool because you get some real diverse kind of flavours that are in there. So I've got my Peter's Yards. We supply these compliments to Peter's Yards in your box. And I'm going to use a biscuit to get into this one because I've got a feeling that it's going to be really, yeah, there we go. Nice and look at that, delicious. And I know it's going to be as soon as you do that scoop, I think that's maybe the idea, just scoop it out in there. So yeah, like I said, that dairy kind of pungency, but not like a wash rind cheese. It's just got this kind of for real strength to it, which sorry, just checking my mic's on, which you can kind of detect. Let's have a go. Yeah, that's with a biscuit as well. Light dairy, then a nice alkaline kind of runoff from it. A little bit kind of tonic-y, which is very familiar. Nice dairy, a little bit of peppery at the back. Salty. Very, very Moorish. I mean, I could eat that whole thing, actually. Wow. That's an absolute banger for us to start off on. I don't think there's going to be many of you that dislike that cheese. It's got a good balance between that subtlety to start you out the gate. It's got a cream cheese vibe to it as well. There's that lactic set that's coming in, that little bit of pepperiness, which is just as kind of a little point, but nothing too crazy. Loads of milk, good quality milk, Montbéliard cows, really lovely herd. That is astonishing and literally perfect. I don't think that you will try that cheese at a better stage in its life. And that's what the selection process is about. It will fit in really well, and I think we're off to a really great start, which is amazing. So St Jude. Next cheese up, Rachel, made by Roger Longman down at White Lake Cheeses. Goat's milk, You can see from this pale colour on the interior, that indicates that it's a goat's milk cheese. Goats absorb the colouring in grass that gives it cow's milk cheeses, that yellow tint. They absorb it, uses nutrition so it doesn't get passed on through the milk. That's how you can tell. It's got this really pretty affineur's dream on the outside, this little chrysosporium. It's been in the box a few times, but not for like 8 months, I think. So it's nice to have it in. And it kind of dovetails nice and gently into this St Jude. So let me cut the end off. Let's have a little smell. Really sweet. And there's a touch of savoury in there as well. But it's got a nice kind of, normally I'd go almond, but actually this sits more into kind of the cashew kind of quality that's there, that richness and that fat that's in there, which is great. And it's got a really nice textural difference that's going on. Let's give it a taste. Yep, I'm eating the rind. You can eat the rind on pretty much most of the Varsan cheeses. Adds that nice little mushroomy edge that's in there. Really delicate. And it's nice having it with the St Jude because this cheese is actually quite milky as well. And the St Jude, because it's got like that elevated milkiness, knocks that element out a little bit on the palate, which is quite interesting because then you get this really nice mix between a meaty, sweet nuttiness. That's delicious as well. We're on to a winner here. So that's Rachel, really great cheese. Now a cheese that I kind of have to find a really specific moment to put in cheese. As an artisan, we don't particularly like cheeses that are infused with different flavours. Mainly that's because the large corporations will, for God knows whatever reason, they're going to make tiramisu Wensleydale and chocolate bonbon. And yeah, I saw hot cross buns this Easter in Cheddar. This is different. This is made by Liner Dairies, Catherine Mead. Amazing human being, done like a tremendous amount for the British artisan cheese industry. When British cheese renaissance kind of like was kicking up in 2004, Cornish Yarg was there like leading the charge. This is a little different. This is a Cornish Yarg wrapped in wild garlic. Obviously wild garlic seasons out there. If you know your spot, don't tell anyone because they'll come nick it all. But it's been wrapped in that garlic. And it's very like a different experience from those infusion mass productions. Cornish Yarg is a very artisan cheese. And I think it would just be a nice little lightness that we need midway in the journey. Cleanse the palate, move on to the next one. So yeah, very Greek yogurt, that kind of territorial style that you're getting on the nose. Bit lemony. The texture's fun to be different from these two. You know, it's not all about differing flavours, it's about the journey to get to the end and how this one just really is like crumbly with a togetherness, if that makes sense. That Greek yogurt, creme fraiche, sour cream edge coming in. You know, I hate saying it, but like cheesy. You know, it definitely tastes like cheese. That you know, that would be atypical that I've seen in the shop, like quite a lot of notes. And then that garlic finish. Like the garlic isn't infused in the journey. You get it up front if you eat the rind first and get that wild garlic on there. You get the Cornish Yarg in the middle, and then you get a lovely garlicky finish, which is enough. And it's not too much. It's a lovely little nod to it. Awesome. That's a nice, like, difference in there. Once again, these three cheeses are very, very Moorish. I could keep on going back and not feel overwhelmed by them. And then we move on to our cheddar. Always got to have a cheddar. Sometimes I don't do it, but we're British, right? You know, you got to have a cheddar in there. And this is Montgomery cheddar, one of my favourite cheddars. I really like this profile at the moment as I'm staring at them. Just because it's, just like the Cornish Yarg, it's got a really familiar flavour that's in it. So this is made by Jamie Montgomery down in Somerset. He also makes a really amazing raclette cheese called Ogleshield. If you guys are thinking about melting cheese, come buy Ogleshield from us, because that's how you get the stringy stretchiness in the cheese. I made a cauliflower cheese for Easter, just literally put like a thin little layer on top. It was amazing. Yeah, so he makes those, like one of our oldest cheddar makers in the UK. Really good aroma. There's that floral kind of fruitiness to this profile that's in there, which is quite nice to keep it light. You know, we're in spring. Yeah, we are officially in spring. So it's nice to have those lighter notes where before everything's a little bit more hearty. Let's have a go. Lovely texture. That chew, that robustness. Wow. Unbelievably savoury, actually. See, that's confused me a little bit. See, profiles change all the time with artisan cheese. It's not like getting a bottle of wine, reading off the back, it's going to be the same every time. This is slightly different, but for the better, which is good. It actually dips into that savoury element quite a bit, which I felt like we maybe were lacking in these first three, like to balance it up. But you've got that nice kind of meatiness that's in there. Borderline broth, light broth, kind of like a miso ramen noodle type thing, because it's nice and light. That tang just clutches onto that and rides through it. Doesn't become noticeable, but when you point it out, it does become noticeable. Length is so long. But like I said with Monty's, I always find it sessionable. Like it's a cheese that I feel like doesn't overwhelm you. You can keep on going for more. Oh, actually, there's that note that I was talking about. There's a note in this profile which is very atypical cheddar, but with a twist of obviously the complexities of being an artisan. That it's very recognizable to something that, and this sounds insulting, but it's very recognizable to a very simple cheddar that, you know, that might have been slightly more mass produced. But I love that because you get it, you recognize it, and you're like, oh, actually, rather than it leaving in 2 seconds, it prolongs massively. Delicious. Montgomery cheddar. Next one up, Cropwell Shropshire Blue. Add a little bit of colour to the board. I always find our Shropshire profiles, in comparison to our Cropwell Stiltons, are a little bit more lighter, so I thought they're intermingle in there. The coloration that's in there, that's an Arto. So, sorry, you guys who know and watch my videos all the time, but annatto is a South American seed, crushed down, put it in the milk. In the Victorian eras, you would skim off the top of the milk and make butter out of it because you'd make more money. But then your cheese would look a bit pale in comparison, and that was their indication of quality in cheese. So your cheese, the lighter it looked, the less money you'd get. They started sprinkling a little bit of colouring in there. Sometimes it was beetroot and stuff like that, but it progressed to an Arto. And that's how you get this orange colouring. So they were going like cheating the system by giving it a little bit more colour, and then it became a thing on its own. The story behind Shropshire is it was a Scottish guy, apparently was making cheese with them, went up to Scotland to make Stilton. Stilton is a protected name. You know, you can make it in 4 counties in a particular way. They said, no, you can't do that. So he put an Arto in his cheese, which made a difference of opinion that was in there. This is a big cheese, so I'm gonna cut it properly so we get kind of a cross profile, but don't expect me to eat all of this. I'll do that. I eat a lot of cheese, 2 kilos a week and counting. Yeah. So we're getting that light bitter note that's in there. So because I feel like it's a younger profile, you're getting that more kind of astringency which creeps in with blue cheeses, which we're missing this bitter profile that's in here. So it's important for me to round those simple flavours. Let's have a go. And that's a welcome relief. Saltiness higher. Very, very fruity. You know, a bit fermented. Once it leaves the palate, that sounds like not a compliment, but once it leaves, then it kind of really does its work. It like almost bursts out in your mouth. Once it's dissipated, then it goes to work on the savoury, the saltiness, that Parma ham, that richness that's in there. On the palate, that bitterness creeps in, especially in the rind. If you don't like bitterness too much, maybe skip the rind on this one. If you do, embrace it. It's a nice full stop to all those cheeses, actually. A really pleasant kind of profile. So, yeah, they're your 4 cheeses. From me, Britain's first and second afternoon of the year. Little shop update. The Times gave us the 3rd best cheesemongers in the country. Not bad for 5 months being open. So if you're ever in Stamford, pop by and say hi. We'd love to see you. My favourite cheese of this lot? Easy. I mean, they're all amazing, but that St Jude is amazing. Well done, Julie Cheney. That is a phenomenal piece of work. Maybe bake that up. That might be interesting, baking that. If you want, just a quick note about this, if you want to get some more of those hearty kind of notes and farm notes, make sure you get it up to room temperature before you eat it. If you don't like those as much, pull it straight out of the fridge. The flavour becomes more curt, and have it immediately. And you'll find yourself enjoy it. Or cut it in half and do both and compare them against one another. But that's me rambling now. So thank you so much. Please tell your friends about us. We're a small independent business. Your word of mouth and your reviews. We're coming up to 3,000 5-star reviews on the website. So really appreciate those when you get the chance. And thank you so much. Have a lovely, lovely month ahead. See you next month.